Hey guys, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I'm still in this child chamber in my Minecraft world, so today I'm going to continue exploring it while reading some more Reddit stories. My email will be down in the description for those of you who want to send me their own stories, and they'll be staying anonymous. Thank you so much for those of you who have sent me your stories, because I really liked reading each one of them, and I look forward to reading more stories sent to me by viewers. Enough yapping, let's get started. This first story is titled, Boyfriend is trying to make me walk to work. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend and I just moved into a new home in a city I'm not familiar with and I can't drive. He believes the walk is fine and that I'm just being a big baby, but I can't really see from his perspective. Him being a man and me being a woman, obviously. Not only am I a little scared with walking in a city I'm unfamiliar with in the summer heat, but it's really not needed. He has a working car, has been driving me since we started dating, and has told me he's completely okay with it from the beginning. He hasn't told me anything about not liking to drive me or any reason not to drive me. Our first night in our new home, he tells me, "Drive you? You start walking tomorrow." With no previous discussion, and laughed when I decided to call my sister to pick me up from work. We have lived here for a whole 3 days, and this morning, he decided to walk to work himself with the idea that I'd just miraculously be okay with walking in the afternoon heat. I just feel like there's a lack of communication here. My sister says I'm being a big baby. My friends say I'm being ridiculous. A coworker who knows my neighbor says I'm not reacting enough. Am I overreacting? By the way, there's also an edit for this post, and I'll be reading it now. Edit. Thank you for the speedy replies, everyone. A lot seems to me think that I'm refusing the walk entirely. In my hometown, I would regularly walk 3 miles a day. Not only that, but we both work in retail and positions where there's a lot of walking, running, and lifting. It's not the activity that's steering me away. I'm going to have a discussion with him about how unfair it is to bring this up and to see what days he can walk with me first. I'll also ask him again to be honest about whether or not driving me is a burden so we can plan for the future. Those of you who say to move out, not only is that pretty drastic, it's also not an option. Though it's not a bad enough situation, I do appreciate this sentiment. I honestly kind of feel like you're overreacting in this case. I feel like what needs to be noted here is you're talking about walking during broad daylight. I understand for like a woman, like walking alone isn't like obviously going to be super safe in an unfamiliar city, but given that it is happening during broad daylight, I feel like you would be okay. I feel like the best option for you is to first have a talk with your boyfriend like you said you would in the edit, and then after that decide from there like how it would work out. And if you do have to end up walking, I feel like you should just walk, instead of just having other people like drive you around, because like you have to do what you got to do to like get your commute to work, right? Or even if you don't want to walk, you could consider looking at like buses or something, depending on how your schedule is. So I feel like that would be the best option. This next story is titled, Am I Overreacting? Bank teller questioned me about what I was doing with my cash that I was withdrawing from my account. I'm a black 37-year-old female. The teller is a white 40-ish-year-old male. I just went to my bank to withdraw $9,000 from my account. I get to the counter. He greets me and I greet him back. I fill out a withdrawal slip and hand it to him. He looks at it, then starts small talk. He asks, "Well, what do you have planned for the rest of the day?" I say, "Well, since it's my first off day, I usually like to rest and chill at home." He says, "Probably not today, huh?" I guess hinting at the fact that I'm getting this money, so I must be doing something with it immediately. I say, "Yes, I'm still going home to rest after this." I think that's the end of his questions. Then he asks, "Well, you must be doing something fun with this money." I say, "Not really." Then he asks, "So what are you doing with it?" I say, "What am I doing with it?" He says, the money. "What are you doing with the money?" I just look at him for a moment, then say, "Whatever I want to do with it." He asks, "So you don't want to tell me?" I say, "No." Gives me my money, tells me to have a good day. I tell him the same and leave. This interaction made me uncomfortable. I don't go inside the bank very often, maybe 2 to 3 times a year, and I can usually handle my business at the ATM. Am I overreacting, or is this normal chit chat for bank tellers? I don't think you're overreacting. I'm pretty sure this is something that is standard for a banker to do when someone is like withdrawing large amounts of money. And due to you withdrawing $9,000, the banker was probably giving small talk to make sure that you weren't getting scammed or you weren't scamming anybody, since a lot of popular scams do involve withdrawing large amounts of money. And although it is intimidating, you shouldn't have to worry much and just have to get used to it since it is a STAFI protocol. This next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for selling something I got for free? A few weeks back, I, 44-year-old male, won a car in one of them supermarket giveaways. There are various reasons I don't want to keep it. I spent a significant portion of the year traveling between two continents. I don't have a garage to keep it in when I'm in my home country. And, perhaps most importantly, the car has a manual transmission and I am a bad enough driver on an automatic. I could, however, use a couple of thousand extra euros, so I decided to sell it. Friends of mine, a married couple I will call Laura, 36-year-old female, and Patrick, 38-year-old male, are in the market for a new car, so I turned to them first. The ticket price of the car is 20k euros. I need to pay taxes on the winnings of some 4k, so I offered it to them for 14k. They save 6k, which means they don't need to take out a partial loan as they were planning. I end up with 10k, and everyone wins. Laura and Patrick very happily accepted, and we should have all that paperwork done out next week. I was hanging out with Laura and Patrick last weekend, signing the paperwork. At one point, another friend of theirs, let's call him Jake, 34-year-old male, showed up. I don't talk to him. Why is a long story. One of the reasons is that he is a know-it-all a-hole who is just incapable of keeping out of people's business. And sure enough, when Jake found out what was going on, he felt the need to offer his opinion, which amounted to accusing me of taking advantage of Laura and Patrick and arguing that if I were a real friend, I would just give them the car. Laura, who doesn't like Jake either, but is the sweetest person ever, so does not let it show, politely shut him down, and he thankfully left shortly after that. Laura then apologized and told me that she thought what Jake had said was stupid, but that, surprisingly to both of us, some other friends of hers think the same. And then yesterday, I met up with Alex, 39-year-old male, a mutual friend of mine and Laura's. Laura, him, and me worked in the same office for a couple of years, and while I left for greener pastures a long time ago, they and some other mutual friends still work there. Alex told me, with some amusement, that the entire thing with the car has been the subject of much gossip at the office. According to what he told me, some people are basically taking Jake's side and calling what I did exploitative and taking advantage of Laura's situation, since I am charging them for money for something that cost me nothing. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole for selling something I got for free? You are definitely not the a-hole in this situation. Because you got the car for free doesn't mean that you have to give it away for free. What also needs to be noted is that you are giving a really good deal while also helping your friends out at the same time. If you gave the car away for free to Laura and Patrick, you'd be left paying that 4,000 euros. Just because you want to make a little bit of money from it doesn't make you a bad guy. What also needs to be noted is that you shouldn't have to worry about the people at your old workplace, even if they side with Jake. They don't know all the details, so their opinion is irrelevant. As long as you know what you're doing is right, then it's completely fine. This next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for moving out of my parents' house? I, 24-year-old male, have a rather uneasy relationship with my parents, who are 60 plus. Growing up, my goals and dreams were largely their goals and dreams, so when I ever failed, it felt like I was hurting them in a way. Recently, things have gone fairly toxic, as my family hates my girlfriend, 22-year-old female. Me and her have talked about moving in together for years when she graduated college, which is this week. About 2 weeks ago, we decided to look at an apartment half on a whim, and we actually loved it. We saw the place on Saturday, applied on Wednesday, and signed the lease on the following Saturday. The entire time, I was quite nervous. However, as I knew my parents would disapprove, my girlfriend routinely calls our parents toxic behavior, and this had resulted in distance between the two parties. I told them on Thursday of that week we were going to tour the place again and possibly sign. They have criticized every step. Financially, my girlfriend and I net $170,000 combined, and the rent cost is $2,400 in a New England suburb, and the speed of the entire thing. I acknowledged their concerns, but assured them it's what I wanted. Since then, they have blown up at me multiple times, insinuating I'm turning my back on family for moving 25 minutes away, that I betrayed them, and that my girlfriend has destroyed our once happy family. My parents even requested I tell them before I arrive to begin moving out so they are not around during it. Your parents are the a-hole in this story. Your parents are being really controlling about what you do and try to guilt trip you into following what they want. You are a 24-year-old grown adult with a stable income, and for them to get mad at you for moving out is absurd. Your girlfriend's right about how your relationship with your parents is very toxic, and you should honestly start distancing yourself from them as it could only get worse. This next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my brother who stole our inheritance? My father passed away 4 years ago and left around $200,000 to be divided among my 5 brothers and I. The oldest son, my brother, was named the executor of the will, but our father intentionally left out any mention of money to avoid inheritance taxes, and instead said estate to be divided equally among us children. He told all of us this in person at the hospital before he passed, specifically directed my brother to divide all the money equally, and we were all present when he said this. Well, he underestimated how big of a piece of crap my brother is. He stole the majority of it and spent it all. None of us got our full share. We were each supposed to receive just over 33K, but none of us did. We all got random amounts ranging from 10K to 18K. I specifically got 12K. He kept giving excuse after excuse about where the money was or when he would give it to everyone, but he's a manipulative con artist, and after a couple years, we realized he robbed us and would never see that money. There's really nothing we can do legally because, like I said, the money was not mentioned in the will. My dad withdrew it from the bank months before when he was starting to get sick. He was 86 years old and knew his time was coming. We have discussed the situation with an attorney, and he basically told us we're screwed. Fast forward to present day, and the piece of crap is currently sitting in jail. He was arrested a couple weeks ago, probation violation for whatever crime he did. I don't know nor care, and he's looking at minimum 6 months. He lives in my state in a town 2 hours away from me. The rest of our siblings are out of state. He's been trying to call me from jail, and it's the first time I've heard from him in about 2 years after he screwed everyone. The rest of my siblings have kept in minimal contact with him. They haven't forgiven, but have let go of the whole inheritance situation. As have I also resent and despise the piece of crap. His actions with the inheritance have opened my eyes to how much of an evil and despicable person he really is. Since I'm the closest one to him distance-wise, my siblings have been pressuring me to take care of his affairs while he's in jail. He's single and lives alone, so he doesn't have anyone to do it for him. Things like maintaining his house, getting his car out of impound from the day of his arrest, calling this place or that company, arranging things while he's in jail for the foreseeable future, etc., etc. I don't want to do any of it. In fact, I would get pleasure seeing his life fall apart. To me, he deserves more jail time regardless of what crime he committed. My siblings think I'm being heartless and cruel. Am I the a-hole for refusing to do anything for him and still being slightly satisfied that he's in jail? You are not the a-hole at all. Your brother 100% deserves this jail time. He had literally not only lied to your guys' face, but took all the money that was gifted to you by your father. You shouldn't be helping him at all. What I find weird is that all your other brothers are calling you heartless for not helping, as if they have forgiven him. Couldn't they just fly to the state and help him with some affairs too? It seems like your brothers don't want to do it themselves, so they're just pressuring you into doing it. I personally think you shouldn't help him, and if your other brothers continue to pressure you, you should tell them to do it, or even just stop contacting them. This is the last story I'll be reading for today's video, and is titled, Am I the a-hole for not paying for the Airbnb? My 3 family members and I are traveling from South America to attend my PhD graduation in California in a few weeks. My mother made a splitwise for the 4 of us to split major expenses, such as airfare, rental car, and housing. My brother, not part of the 4 of us, lives in New York City and decided he will fly out from there to attend. He announced this after I booked the Airbnb, paid for it, and added it to the splitwise, that he's not part of, as he announced he would be attending late. My brother has some friends in California that he's been wanting to see, so we'll fly out a few days in advance to hang out with them. In my 6 years of attending my PhD program, he has never visited me. Here's the issue. He wants to stay in our Airbnb for his last 2 days of the trip. The Airbnb is booked for 3 nights, so 2 out of 3 days of the booking, even though the booking is for max 4 people. To accommodate this, I'll be staying with a friend from university for those 2 days. Now that this has been finalized, I sent the link to the splitwise in the family group chat and said brother can join it so that he can pay for his part of the Airbnb. My brother said it is unfair he has to pay as he is coming all the way out from the East Coast. My mother says I'm being petty and cheap and should just pay for him because she paid for a couple of lessons for me to get my driver's license 10 plus years ago and paid for other things when I was a teenager. But I honestly don't see why I should pay for all 3 nights in the Airbnb and not just one when he will be taking up what should have been my bed for 2 of the 3 nights. Am I the a-hole for adding him to the splitwise? Your brother is the a-hole. If he is staying 2/3 of the days in the Airbnb, he has to pay for his part, especially since you are paying for 2 nights that you won't even be there for. It's weird for your mom to make a splitwise so that the expenses can be split, but then get mad when you actually try to do that with your brother. I also find it weird why she is mentioning stuff from years ago when you were literally a teenager about how she would buy your stuff. That's just honestly immature. It's like if I want to get food with a friend and ask him to pay for me because I paid for his food 2 years ago. It doesn't make sense at all. know you aren't the a-hole, and if your brother doesn't pay, you should just stay at the Airbnb. That's going to be it for today's video, guys. I really enjoyed reading today's stories while looting the trial chambers. I'm going to be a bit busy for these next 3 weeks, so I'll try my best to stay consistent, but after that, I'll be able to upload even more videos, about 3 to 4 per week. As mentioned in the beginning, my email is in the description for those of you who want to send me your stories, and I'll also have the mod pack I'm playing on linked in a pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.